The humanitarian logistics system is incredibly expensive, and yet still, people in crises don't have access to the supplies they need. Take Monique, an aid worker in Nepal. She's trying to get cook stoves to communities affected by the earthquake. But the cook stoves she ships in from India, hundreds and hundreds of them, have a problem. The control knob on them keeps breaking. Often it's broken before they even get to the village where they're needed, leaving the cook stoves dangerous or even impossible to use. What can she do? Luckily, Monique works with World Vision, and Field Ready is a partner of World Vision in Kathmandu. Monique met our team, and we'd examined the problem with the cook stoves. We were able to design a new control knob, one that wouldn't break, and we 3D printed 430 of them there on site. Those knobs were sold for 45 rupees each, and they're now in use on 18 sites in the quake-affected district. And the design that we used can be used now. Anywhere in the world can reuse it to fix their cook stoves if they have a similar problem. Field Ready aims to ensure that in every humanitarian response, everyone has access to the supplies they need, when and where they need them. We improve local manufacturing capabilities for response through making, training, and innovating. And we work with partners to identify real needs on the ground, design products to solve those problems, and then work out the manufacturing techniques to make them a reality. And we develop local production capacity too. That might be machines, materials and designs, people with relevant skills, or coordination to make it all happen. World Vision wanted innovation, and Monique was able to deliver safe cook stoves that worked because of working with us. So innovation doesn't have to mean huge high-tech companies like Google. It can be local, relevant and helpful, and delivered by an NGO. And for Field Ready's vision of humanitarian local production to really scale, we need aid agency adoption. And that means that agencies need to be aware of, able to use, and see the benefit of new ways of working for manufacturing and production. And that includes online tools for sharing information and for coordinating distributed manufacturing across local production and manufacturers. But encouraging innovation at aid agencies isn't always easy. One agency, who will remain nameless, was very keen to work with us on wash supplies in very high volumes, and global leadership was brought in. Now, we knew we'd have to educate their in-country staff about the potential of local production. We didn't expect to also need to educate them about their own agency's hygiene standards for supplies. And people like to work the way they always have done. They worry that their colleagues in procurement or their suppliers might lose work if they get supplies in a different way. Local staff may just want to use commercial products they're familiar with, rather than things made in a different way, and program and personnel changes really slow things down. So at Field Ready, we use a wide variety of approaches to help encourage that change. And key in all our work is demonstrating that local production is possible, that it creates appropriate solutions, and that it's faster, that the supplies are actually available. And that might include products that relieve suffering in new ways. Our origins are in humanitarian relief, and because of our work on the ground, we have credibility with agencies, which is great. And we use ethnographic methods so we can focus really down on the problems of the situation and the local needs, not our own ideas for what we think solutions might be. And we're very open-minded as to how best to solve problems as well. Unlike other technology for good organizations, we don't focus on one product category, one country, or one technology. So we can find an appropriate solution each time. And we use very fast testing and learning in all we do, so we don't get stuck trying things that don't work. But that variety is really important for us. It means we can keep going when we hit a problem in one particular location or context or program. We are very rigorous in our evaluation. We need very solid, proper evidence that our ideas work in practice to meet humanitarian needs, not to be cool technologies. And we have shown that local manufacturing is useful. We've actually shown this in multiple settings so that each agency or partner can find an example that appeals to them and that makes sense to the way they work. We've done this in Nepal, in Syria, in Kenya, and in Haiti. We've 3D printed medical items like kidney trays and tweezers. We've fixed high-value assets like hospital equipment, making replacement parts that are otherwise totally unobtainable, or making better parts like those cook stove knobs. And we've designed products that can be made locally at far less than the cost of buying a commercial product shipped from overseas. There's local production in practice. Now, you need engineers and designers for the first few items when you're solving the problem, figuring out the manufacturing technology and designing the product. But then we can enable people without such deep technical skills to reproduce items by sharing information. That might be local manufacturers who already exist, setting up a new product line. Or it might be local people using tools or machines to make items themselves, building local livelihoods. The internet is really key for our work as well. Once you have a design, you can make it anywhere, often using local or recycled materials. So for digital manufacturing, you just need the digital design file. Or maybe it's a design for simple production machinery that can be made locally and used locally. Or perhaps it's just instructions and measurements for how to make something yourself using simple hand tools. It's by creating capabilities like this, rather than specific solutions, that we can also get aid agency buy-in. And partnering with agencies keeps our work very relevant and practical. Now, some agencies, like World Vision, want change, and others are less ready for it. They want less risk and more support. And program funding routes can really make a difference there in helping partners see us as practical delivery agents rather than experimental innovators. So change is going to come because local production brings so many benefits, and we're going to keep on making, training, and innovating as best we can, however we can, to make our vision a reality. Thank you.
But calling out the Saudis and their backers posed particular risks to our programmes and to our colleagues on the coalface. And there were also funding considerations. And I was involved in many, many difficult conversations as to whether Oxfam could really afford to take on this level of risk.
Like my mother, when she went to school, it was right after the war. The whole country was destroyed. And the biggest obstacle for the children to go to school was that they didn't have proper shoes or clothes to go to school, especially in the winter time. And luckily, UNICEF brought in loads and loads of clothes to Finns so that the children could go to school, and even my mother. And she then later came as a teacher.